Hello everyone. Today I will be discussing in my informative speech none other than the most beautiful, talented, and captivating Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe was born of the name Norma Jean Mortensen on June 1st, 1926 at 9:30 a.m. in the Los Angeles General Hospital. Her mother was a 24-year-old named Gladys Pearl Monroe Baker Mortensen, who suffered with a great deal of depression. Norma Jean's father had abandoned the family, and growing up, Norma Jean never knew who he was, something that would haunt her through her childhood and adult years. Growing up, Norma Jean dreamt of becoming an actress and would often attend movie theaters, most of the time alone. Norma Jean's mother, Gladys, struggled greatly financially and felt she could not keep both her job and child. Gladys boarded Norma Jean for $25 a month with a couple named Albert and Ida Bolender. Norma Jean would receive weekend visits from her mother, which was quite confusing for the young child. She never thought of Gladys as her mother, but Ida Bolender pointed out to Norma Jean that Gladys in fact was her mother. Later, she was brought to live with her mother in October 1934. She began attending Selma Street School in Hollywood and exceeded quite well in the subject of English. Norma Jean's mother later had a breakdown and was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. She remained institutionalized most of her life. Norma Jean was then moved from family to family, never really having a steady home environment. She later lived in an orphanage where she had decent experiences. At that time, she would discover makeup and her love for beauty and learned and played softball exceptionally well. Beauty was something she desperately desired, and that desire would soon take form. At the age of 10, she started to quickly develop and was said to have shot up to her adult height of 5'5". Because of her beauty, boys swarmed around her and girls would often glare at her with envy and jealousy. Norma Jean, throughout her school years, stuck mostly to herself. She was shy and socially reserved. Later on, Norma Jean married Jim Doherty. She was 16 and he was 20. It was actually more of an arranged marriage, arranged by a woman named Grace that was taking care of Norma Jean at the time. Jim Doherty was the son of Grace's neighbors. Norma Jean ended up dropping out of high school and spent the rest of her life trying to compensate for her lack of book knowledge. Jim Doherty ended up receiving orders to Australia and the Far East. Norma Jean went to stay with his mother during the time so that she wouldn't be lonely. Her mother-in-law Ethel was a comforting presence for her. Norma Jean joined Ethel as an employee at a place called Radio Plane Company. Norma Jean took the position as a parachute inspector. At this time, a man by the name of David Conover, a photographer, walked in the radio plane station in search of subjects for his camera. When he saw Norma Jean, he was struck by her beauty and said to her, "I am going to take your picture for the boys in the Army to keep their morale high." This became a life-changing event for Norma Jean. Those photographs were published in Stars and Stripes magazine and Yank magazine. Later, she went off to modeling school. With all of her modeling gigs and money she was obtaining from it, she went on to quit her job at the radio plane. Norma Jean changed her auburn locks to blonde for a shampoo commercial. Then is when Marilyn Monroe was created. Norma Jean changed her name to Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn was a suggestion from a film producer she befriended. He had got the name from an actress that starred in musicals in the 1920s, named Marilyn Miller. Monroe was the name Norma Jean thought of. It was her mother's maiden name, and she felt the two names complemented one another. Throughout Marilyn Monroe's life of fame, she would grow more and more depressed over the years, feeling lonely and used by the men in her life. She turned to alcohol and barbiturates to try and conceal her sadness and ease and her heartache. She went to star in many films. One of the most popular of her films was The 7-Year Itch. The infamous photo of Marilyn Monroe's dress blowing up came from a scene in that movie. Marilyn Monroe went through her years feeling lonely and lost. Eventually this depression would catch up to her, and on August 5, 1962, at the age of 36, Marilyn Monroe was found dead in her bed. Her death to this day is a bit of a mystery. It was ruled as suicide of consumption of pills and alcohol, but there are many questions as to whether that is what truly caused her death. Marilyn Monroe was an amazing, beautiful model, singer, and actress, and she will be forever remembered, forever a legend. Thank you.